Complaining about your partner to your family or your friends is the beginning of the end. And here's why. Hey guys, welcome back to 5nothing100nothing.com. I am Buggit! That stands for the fittest underdog guru using intelligent tactics. Guys, we've all heard it said that if your partner, your spouse hurts you, never complain to your family about it, because you might forgive them, but your family won't. Now, there's definitely some truth in that, but I want to be careful with that topic, because if you're somebody who's in an abusive relationship and you take that message or that advice to heart, then, that's never a good thing. If you're in a bad situation, verbal, physical abusive relationship, you should definitely get out, and you should definitely talk to those loved ones in your life that can help you. So, outside of something like that, let's talk about the little things, the nitpicking, right? If they have a bad habit, or if you guys disagree about something, or you just had like a little tiff, okay? It happens in every single relationship. No matter who you date, no matter who you're with, you're going to have some disagreements. You're going to have some differences. And sometimes it's one partner who's inconsiderate, or has a bad habit, or isn't, giving a second thought to your needs or to, your concerns. And other times, it's just something really silly. It's a pet peeve you have. It could be a misunderstanding. And when you're going to family and friends and constantly talking about them, and then staying with them, it kind of makes you look a little bit foolish. And it makes you look like you just can't get away from them. You can't bring yourself to pull yourself away, because you're emotionally, addicted, and you don't see your worth enough to draw a line in the sand and put up boundaries and say what your expectations are, what your deal breakers are, and what have you. You've got to be careful with that stuff, because if it's something small and it's something that you and your partner need to work on, then you and your partner need to work on it. Think about, if the shoe's on the other foot, do you want them talking to all their friends and family about you in a negative light? You may have had a moment of disagreement, and maybe it was late at night, maybe you two had indulged in some adult beverages, and now, emotions are high, anger is high, your temper, you're short-fused, you're sleep-deprived, and you start saying some things that you don't necessarily mean. And all of a sudden, the next day, you find out that, your partner talked to everyone and their mother about your situation. You're not going to be happy about that. So put the shoe on the other foot and look at it through that lens, and that'll help you to make the right decision. You need to stand up for yourself, speak up for yourself, and get things resolved or dissolve the relationship and move on. To stay in something for months and years that never seems to progress, you don't feel heard or validated, then you need to take some stock in yourself, realize your worth, or if you can't do that, then maybe it's some self-improvement that's needed, some self-awareness, and realize by putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, looking out from the outside in at your particular situation. Like if you have kids, think about, well, how would my kids look at this situation, or the way I'm dealing with this? Or if it was my mother going through this, what would I tell her? And that's where the logical side of your brain has to take over from the emotional side, because the emotional side will lead you all kinds of different ways. We always hear things like in movies or music, about follow your heart, listen to your heart. Well, how many times have you done that, and without using logic, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a predicament, and what was your soulmate, your true love, all these things, after a week, all of a sudden becomes, your nightmare. It happens to a lot of people. And And so don't fall for that trap. Stay centered, use your brain and keep it to yourself, because your friends and family are always going to look at that person through a different lens, because they're not emotionally tied like you are. They're going to look at it through logic and say, wait a minute, they're looking out for your best interest. They don't want you hurt, and you may have exaggerated their offenses, your partner's offenses, and minimize the things you did. It's human nature, and you can't do that if you want and think that this could be a long-term relationship. So that's some food for thought. That's one to grow on, kids. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think about that. I can do a series on this. I've been a part of these types of situations. I've also been the friend or the family member in these situations, and I've seen how this plays out. You might think you're the exception to the rule, and maybe you are. So let me know, and we can tackle it, right? There's always some exceptions, but generally there's not.